Second.
I have a motion from Naeem, a second from Ms. Jessica. Any comments or questions from the board on the motion on the floor? Public comments, question on the motion on the floor? This is the Historic Review Board, it's not the P&Z. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Naeem, did you want to say anything as the gavel passes over?
So, thank you so much for having me as your chair. But as the commission voted last night, we are moving the chair to the non-voting member, which is the mayor. Makes life just to clear the air a little bit, it makes life a lot easier, I feel. Because as a chair, I can't motion, or whoever's the chair can't motion anything. Usually has to wait to vote. And yeah, it's actually like a breath of fresh air, at least for me. I was looking forward to handing it down to the next person, but I believe that next person would be a great vice chair still, and just in case the mayor's not here, he could definitely lead the way. But thank you. But I do look to continually serve on the P&Z. I'm not planning on going anywhere, so I will still be a smiling face up here.
And you've been a great chair for how many years? 3?
Yeah,
3 years.
Yeah.
Yes, that's awesome. And the commission redid the BOA. They looked for conformity across the board. So that's how. And they just like to make me do things. So.
We're also non-voting, so
it does make a lot of sense there. Let's go ahead and we'll do our pledge in the historic, and then we'll have it done. So if you would rise for the saying of the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Long, you want to lead that?
All right, I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as it was published?
A motion to approve as printed.
I have a motion from Naeem.
Second.
I have a second from Ms. Jessica. Welcome.
I'm
Ms.
beating all
Parker.
of y'all tonight, by the way.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. That takes us on to our first agenda item is a proclamation declaring May as Historic Preservation Month in the city of Newberry. Brian, do we have anybody? I don't have any a fancy one to present. Are we just reading it into the record? Okay. Historic Preservation Month, May 1st to May 31st, 2023. Whereas historic preservation is an effective tool for economic development, growth management, and helps to foster local pride and maintenance of overall sense of placemaking. Whereas the National Trust for Historic Preservation celebrates the month of May as the National Historic Preservation Month. Whereas historic preservation is relevant for all communities and residents of all ages, ethnic and cultural backgrounds, and all walks of life. Whereas it is important to acknowledge the roles history, architecture, and archaeology play in our lives and the contribution made by dedicated individuals in helping to preserve the tangible aspect of the heritage that shaped us in our city. Whereas historic preservation is supported within the city of Newberry by the Board of Commission and Historic Preservation Board, as well as many other local businesses and neighborhoods. Whereas the city of Newberry will be celebrating the Historic Preservation Month in May 2023. The theme for this year is People Saving Places. Now, therefore, I, Jordan Marlowe, Mayor of the city of Newberry, do hereby declare month of May 23rd as the month of historic preservation in the city of Newberry and encourage citizens to identify, celebrate, and educate others and strive to preserve places that are important to them. Duly proclaimed and adopted this regular session this Monday, May 8th, 2023. Here proclaimed. All right. That's going to take us to Item 3, which is changing the July and September 2023 meeting dates due to holidays. John Paul, are you taking us through that, or did you have something on the Historic Preservation Month?
I did, yeah.
Oh, well, take us through
I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
What's being presented to the Historic Architectural Review Board tonight is the proclamation, and this is for a recommendation for the City Commission to adopt. So Mayor Jordan Marlowe could read it at City Commission on May 8th. Yes, and also usually somebody accepts the proclamation, and so to nominate a member or members from the board, well, he'll be reading it, so I imagine that we'll want to select someone else from the board to accept, or if there's a person in the community.
Anybody attend to that commission meeting? This is the
Next Monday.
Next Monday. Anybody want to come from the Harb?
I'll be here for that.
Naeem will be here. Anybody else? We can have the whole board. We can have 1 or 2 of you as representatives. Next Monday commission meeting. We'll put it early on.
Well, it's early on, like 7:30.
Well, it depends on public comment. Yeah. No. We do presentations before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very beginning of the meeting, if that's a little bit of relief. Meeting starts at 7. So.
Okay.
Yeah. 7-11, somewhere in there. I got 2. Y'all can think about it and come if you Okay. All right. Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah. Have a little picture. We'll put it on a nice plaque. Sierra's good with those plaques. The wooden plaque. Yes.
Can we get our names on it?
Is that it?
That is.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. The July and September meeting dates due to holidays. Brian, are you taking us through? What do you want to change? Does staff have a suggestion for when do you want to change the dates? Or are we working this out on the fly?
July 3rd, you guys are closed?
Mr. Mayor, it really works out to whatever works best for the board.
All right, so
Usually if we have a Monday that's a holiday, we try to have the meeting the following day, on Tuesday.
Mr. Chair, may I ask a question?
go right ahead, Naeem.
Is city closed on the 3rd for the holiday or just the 4th? Because there's since the 4th is on a Tuesday, I believe.
Yes, it is.
So will Monday be a city holiday as well, or will they be open?
I feel like
Honestly,
we're not
I
quite prepared to have this
don't know that.
conversation. How about we table this item and at the June meeting,
June
we'll
we'll
have
decide.
some proposed dates and
Yes,
we'll
sir.
know when City Hall is being closed and not closed. And
I'm not sure that it has been announced whether the city will be open on Monday.
so
or
you
not.
guys
Usually
really
it
just
would be.
wanted to push the city manager
idea.
to start thinking about this by putting it on. Okay, so
Well,
you,
and to get the board to think about what's the best day for you if we move the meeting date.
but to Naeem's question, if City Hall is open on the 3rd, we just do it on the 3rd.
I'm assuming City Hall will
Right.
be open on the 3rd, and we would
We
do
wouldn't really need to, and what is September? What's the problem with September? Is that Mother's Day?
That's
Is it-
Labor
No,
Day.
Labor Day.
Labor Day.
Day.
So Monday, they're definitely closed on Labor Day.
Yeah.
So we can
Yeah,
do the
so,
5th.
Yeah.
We should move it to the following Monday. That's
Or the Tuesday is the
Tuesday, yeah.
5th.
the Tuesday the
Yeah,
5th,
you're right,
So, I mean, so it looks
Tuesday. So the
like
September one,
does
the
that work
5th.
for everybody?
shaking some heads on September 5th.
Hold on, Kathy.
Okay. So we'll all think about it. Staff will have when City Hall is open and closed at the next meeting, and we'll have a better conversation.
Hey, do we have to
All
have
right.
this conversation again for the PNC?
No. Any topics for members? Madam Parker? No? No topics? Ms. Thomas? Any topics from members? Ms. Fuller?
Like I needed to do something. Did I forget something?
No. Any topics? Yes?
I'm teasing.
Member Poland? Ms. Jessica? Ms. Long? Name?
No?
No? Meeting adjourned? And we are going to join right into the P and Z. Thank you. We appreciate you coming down.
He just runs through this fluid.
I need a motion to approve the agenda as it was
Motion to
published.
approve as published.
I have a motion from Naeem.
I second that
I have a
motion.
second from Mr. McDonald. Any comments, questions, motion on the floor from the dais? Public comments, questions on the motion on the floor? To approve the agenda, hearing none. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. We'll start off, we already did our pledge, so we're going to go straight. Yep.
Just one item of business. Just wanted to introduce the board to Uma. Please say your last name for us. Sarmishta.
All
She is
right.
our new senior planner for the city of Newberry.
All right.
She
Yep.
comes with experience and a lot of education. And so she's going to be a great addition. She's already making an impact. And I just want everybody to welcome her onto the team.
You come just in a great time.
And
Yes.
it's her birthday today. So
Happy birthday. And what kind of a jerk boss would make you come to a meeting on your birthday? That's just. That-
to let her skip. I promise. I offered to let her skip. She's so dedicated to it.
Oh, I
They'll show that we
love
like you
it.
by not saying to. How about that?
I'm Missy, I'm the youth assistant.
Oh, yeah, hello.
Brian.
Come on, Brian.
This is your first meeting. I'm sorry. Oh,
Yeah. Well, she was at a commission meeting, and that's right. We introduced her.
been with
So,
us 3 weeks.
yeah.
It's like she's been there forever, just forgot.
And
This was her first planning zone. So this is Missy Claude, our new planning assistant.
Yeah.
Please welcome her as well. She'll be back there running the boards.
We appreciate that.
Thank
The
you.
tech is very, very important. Make sure everything works well. Okay, so now who's giving the presentation on the comprehensive overhaul? Is that you, John Paul? Or is that you, Brian? All right. Well, don't sit down, Brian.
And Jeannie used to throw things at me when I did things like that. So the big candy, the candies. you know,
Don't try to sneak in some free candy here, okay? She used to throw bricks, not candy.
that's right.
All right.
Up. We have it up?
Comprehensive plan. I think it's
working,
going
but
straight to
It's going to the next item.
next item. We need the comprehensive. All right, we'll put it in your evaluation too. Tell you what.
It's not gonna hurt as much getting hit by a brick when you're that close.
It's, Sierra volunteered to be here. No good deed goes unpunished.
It's ironic because I was just made a joke about the tag being important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on. It's only one slide.
We'll just do it by memory.
It's hard to do the timeline by memory. There we go. Okay.
All
Newberry.
right, back on track.
Wanted to present to the board the Newberry Comprehensive Plan overhaul timeline. So we've contracted with CHW to help us get through our new comprehensive plan. They've begun work, and tonight, as you can see, May 1st will be the Planning and Zoning Board announcement, and then Monday, May 8th will be the City Commission announcement, and then the presentation of the timeline. Next up will be May 24th. We're going to have a community-wide open house. We're going to start advertising for that right away.
Brian, you want to take one step back and maybe just give a 30-second definition of what a comprehensive plan is and why we're about to do this, because the commission's very excited about it, but I'm not sure we've really talked about it to some of the new
yes,
board
sir.
members.
Thank you. So the comprehensive plan is basically the expression of the community's vision for growth in the future. It's usually about a 20-year, maybe even longer timeline that you're looking at. It incorporates the elements of the comprehensive plan, which are future land use, transportation, utilities, recreation, et cetera. So the importance of that is, as a community continues to grow and change, their priorities can change. And so the comprehensive plan for Newberry hasn't been overhauled in probably over 20 years now, and so it's time. We've done minor revisions along the way, but we haven't really done a big overhaul. One of the problems with our comprehensive plan right now is it reads like our land development regulations, which you're not supposed to have all of that specific language in a comprehensive plan. It's more your aspirational document. It's saying the community's gotten together, the community's provided input to the elected officials have provided input to the staff, and we've drawn up a vision for the community, how we want the community to grow in the future. And so it can be as detailed as where the community thinks the next industrial area should be, but it can also be as general as the aspirational aspects of, we want to maintain our small town feel, we want to maintain our agricultural heritage. Those kind of elements can go into it too. And then that language guides the land development regulations next, which the land development regulations are the implementation arm of the comprehensive plan. Whereas the land development regulations can be changed by the commission at any time, the comprehensive plan has to be submitted to the state for their review as well. So it's a more difficult process to change the comprehensive plan, and it's meant to be that way, so that once you've got your community vision in place, you can't just change it willy-nilly. You have to go through more of a deeper contemplative process to make those changes, so that you don't try to change the direction of the ship too radically at any one time, basically. And so,
whereas the charter is certainly our most important document, I would say this is right underneath it, right? And right now, our comprehensive plan is 70, 80 pages. So it's really long. There are things in our comprehensive plans that our LDRs contradict. They don't line up. There are things in the comprehensive plan, like you said, that really shouldn't be there. They're very specific. We did our charter revision 5 years ago, somewhere in there, right? And it was sort of the same theme, was we had things in the charter that weren't really philosophically appropriate for a charter, right? There were things that had been superseded by state law. So it was, let's make it concise, let's condense it so that anybody can understand it and follow it. I would say the same thing. This is a really big deal. Your comprehensive plan, if your community says, we want large we want neighborhoods with large lots. We don't want neighborhoods crammed up. Well, in your comprehensive plan, you would have language that says, that would speak to that, but you wouldn't put specifics of the lot size in the comprehensive plan, because that's, in the comprehensive plan, you want it to be philosophical. We want parks, we want walking space, right? Those are the kinds of things in your comprehensive plan, and then staff is supposed to be able to take that language and figure out how to make that come into reality. So this is a big deal, so get back to the timeline now so that we all know, because I would love for this body to be at workshops and those kinds of things to hear and give that advice and feedback to what should be in the comprehensive plan, what should not be in the comprehensive plan.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so, like I said, May 1st and May 8th will be the first public announcements. We'll also be doing advertising for the upcoming open house workshops on our social media pages, probably in our utility flyers, any avenue we can think of. Of course, it'll be advertised in the newspaper, because all of land use changes have to be advertised in the newspaper as well. But you want to get as much community participation as possible, so we're going to try to spread the word as much as possible to increase the participation. So May 24th, that will be the first open house / workshop. It'll be open to the community, and try to, again, get as much community input as possible. Planning and zoning board members absolutely are welcome to that event. It's open to any resident. It's actually open to anybody, but of course residents probably are going to have a little bit more of a voice than somebody coming in from the outside. There will be a follow-up meeting, open house, on June 7th. That's basically to take two purposes. One, if somebody couldn't make it on May 24th, it gives them another opportunity to come in and provide their input on June 7th. But it also gives our consultants and staff time to get together and say, okay, here's what we received from the public on May 24th, and we sort of boil down those issues and those ideas and present that as part of the presentation again for the open house on the 7th. So it's maybe a little bit more refined than it was on May 24th, but it also, if somebody wasn't able to make May 24th, they can still come in and provide input on the 7th. Then jump forward a little bit, give CHW and staff time to boil that down into a more refined presentation. July 10th, they'll come back with a update to the City Commission to give the City Commission status update, show them where we're at in the process, how much work has been done, provide maybe some general concepts that came out of the open houses, and give the Commission their first opportunity for direct input as well into what's come out of the open houses. July 14th, CHW will take the information from the Commission at the July 10th meeting and include that then into their first draft that they provide to the city staff, and then city staff will start reviewing that. It'll be presented in first draft format to the Planning and Zoning Board at a workshop specifically for you on August 7th. And so please put that on your calendars. Hope nobody was going away for vacation this summer. The next opportunity is August 14th, where we'll then have the City Commission workshop, where everything up to that date will be basically presented to the Commission and allow the Commission some direct input as well. Then from August 15th through 30th, we'll be working closely with CHW to basically refine that draft even farther. We'll have a number of coordination meetings to get the different elements ready to go. And then August 30th, they'll submit the revised drafts to staff for one final review, followed by the September 4th presentation to the planning and zoning, because it's a comprehensive plan amendment, it has to go to the planning and zoning board first for your review, and input. And then once we receive that, for that near final draft, then it goes to September 18th to the city commission. The city commission will have another opportunity at that point to make any changes they might want to see, or add anything that maybe they thought didn't get included. And then at that point, gets transmitted to the State Department of Economic Opportunity. It says September 19th. Of course, if the commission has some additional input, it might go a little bit longer than that, so the staff can get it in to the document. And then it gets transmitted to the state for their 45-day review.
Nice graphic.
I just thought that would be a little fun, because it seems like it takes forever to get the responses back sometimes. And then, once we receive all of those responses from the state and at other state agencies, then CHW and staff will take all of those responses and address them, if any. I mean, they could conceivably say, this is a great plan, we don't have any real comments, we don't see any impacts to state resources, you have our blessing, go. It could happen, hopefully.
Yeah.
And then December 11th, the city commission has the enactment hearing. That's supposed to be applause. December 12th, staff submits the enacted ordinance to DEO, and we are complete. So.
Oh, okay. And Miss Missy, will you get with Brian after this, and let's send calendar invites to the 1, 2, 3 of these that are most important for feedback to the board members, so it's on their calendar. And then if you can come, great. If you can't, we understand.
Yeah, and thank you for that, because this is the proposed timeline. If it turns out that for whatever reason, one of these dates, the board or the commission either can't, meet for a workshop, there's flexibility. We'll work it in. We're here to serve the community, and so if you as the representatives of the community can't make it for that night, we'll find another night when you can.
Does anybody have questions for Brian or about the timeline or what the comprehensive review is?
I just have one question. Mr. Do we know where this is being held yet?
The open house
Probably.
workshops are going to be held in municipal building, because they can fit more of a crowd in there. And also, it's a more open environment. There's going to be facilitated discussion, a lot of sticky notes and things flying all over the place. And so that lends itself a little bit more to that kind of discussion environment. Then, of course, the planning and zoning board meetings, commission meetings will be held here as normal.
Good time for us to do this. We just finished a visioning session, so we got a lot of very current, relevant feedback from the community to kind of roll into that process. So if you want to have any questions on it, I'm going to move us right along to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent? Were you done, Brian? Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion from Ms.
Second.
Jessica, a second from Naeem. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passed unanimously. Our item 3 is a quasi judicial. This is a request to rezone 3 parcels from commercial general to commercial central business district for the balance properties consisting of 0.9 acres. There was a scrivener's error at some point in this process, but it has been corrected at this point. We are entering a quasi judicial. This means that the commission will stop being a legislative body and will become a judicial board, which means we have to follow certain rules and adhere to a different standard of decision making. Primary rule must follow concerns testimony. The substantial and competent evidence standard must be met when the judicial board makes a decision. This standard states the following, and I quote, all public testimony taken under oath, everyone testifying will be subject to cross-examination. All documents and exhibits will be entered evidence. Giving opinion testimony to limited experts. Closing arguments will be limited evidence of record. I'm going to ask the attorney to read into the record the ordinance at this time, please, sir, by title and number.
Yes, sir. This is an ordinance of the City of Newberry, Florida, relating to the rezoning of approximately 0.9 contiguous acres, more or less, pursuant to a petition by the property owner of said acreage. Amending the official zoning atlas of the City of Newberry Land Development Regulations, providing for rezoning from Commercial General CG zoning district to the Commercial Central Business District C-CBD zoning district on certain lands within the corporate limits of the City of Newberry, Florida. Tax parcel numbers are 02231-000-000, 02232-000-000, and finally 02231-000-000. 33-000-000, providing severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict, and providing an effective date. Appropriate motion at the appropriate time will be to pass ordinance number 2023-18 LDR 23-11.
Thank you, sir. I'm going
Sir.
to also ask you to do double duty tonight and swear in the applicant, staff, and anyone wishing to speak.
Anyone who intends to speak on this issue, please stand and raise your right hand, and we'll go around the room. State your full name,
John
please.
Paul Perez.
Brian Thomas.
And Tripp. I think we've got everybody. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. All the witnesses have been sworn.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney. Before we begin, we need to disclose any ex parte communication and disclose whether any member physically inspects the property, ex parte communications, or any conversations or transmission of information that may have bearing or influence on any voting member's decision. Ms. Kathy, anything you needed to declare? You've had any conversations with Mr. Bounds, Mr. Norfleet? You went and visited, needed an air conditioner? Okay, perfect. Madam Polo?
Nope.
Ms. Jessica?
No.
Ms. Long? Naeem? No. Awesome. I'm a non-voting chair, but I have not either. Now I'm going to explain the order of presentation that we were going to follow for the quasi-judicial item before us tonight. First, we're going to hear from the staff with an overview, then the applicant will have the opportunity to make a presentation, no time limit. Then staff will come back and give staff's report and recommendation, also with no time limit. I've not been contacted by anybody wishing to claim third-party intervener status. That's going to move us right to public comment. Any members of the public wishing to speak to this item will have 3 minutes to do so. Then the applicant can cross-examine, the staff can cross-examine member decision-making body. Through the chair may ask questions, staff or the applicant. Final arguments will be heard, then the city attorney will advise decision-making bodies put below on the factual findings that must be made to approve or deny the application. After deliberations, we will have a vote to approve the conditions, continue, or deny. That's the order we'll follow, and we'll start with the staff overview.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. John Paul Perez, Planning and Economic Development Department. As read into the minutes and said by the mayor, this is a request to rezone a property from commercial general to central business district. This is the current Bounds property. It includes that parcel that has the existing building, the vacant parcel adjacent to it, and the house to the south. Here's a map showing the general location of the property within the city limits and the various districts we have within the city. Here's an aerial image showing the current condition of the property. And again, the request is to rezone it from commercial to general to central business district. Just as a disclaimer, this doesn't include any sort of consideration of development at this time. This will come later in the form of a site and development plan. The applicant's here to give a presentation. I think he just has a few words to share with you, and then after that, I'll summarize my report and give our recommendation. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Norfleet?
I was gonna try to put up a couple of pictures that we had right there, but basically what they're gonna do is try to extend the, you got the Bounds building here on the east side, and you have the Bounds building on the west side of the road. And so on the west side of the road, the top picture up there, they're wanting to extend their service bay. The original building, if you can see to the right, has the higher elevation. That's the original Tyler building, you know what I mean? And they're wanting to extend that building and make it longer. If you could scroll up one, Sierra. And then that's the front of it. And then to the right is the new building they want to build. And it's going to, so what they want to have, they're going to have a commercial on the bottom and apartments on the top. Similar to kind of what we've done up there at the town square. And Robert and Brian, they kind of wanted to go with kind of the look of Old Newberry, with just a little bit newer twist to it. But it kind of looks a lot like, the older buildings downtown. And then directly, see what else is on them. I don't know what else is on the pictures, but see what else is on there, Sierra. Can you go up a little bit? The other way. Yeah, and that just kind of shows that building more. So they're going to have it where you could have 3 different businesses in the bottom. And I think there was, how many apartments was on top? 6 apartments on top. And so a lot of the apartments they're thinking they're going to use is a lot of the guys that work for them. Because these are smaller apartments on there, so a lot of the guys that work for them will be staying in those apartments, and then they'll have some other deals too. And then behind this building, I don't think we show it, they've got some property behind it, and that's where they'll do the parking, and then we'll probably do a retention pond that the parking will be over it, you know, it'll have kind of crab traps underneath it, and then the parking over it. So I think you'll end up with, you know, just as, probably more parking than you got now. And then some of the parking that's, the people that park there now, they'll be parking behind the building on the east, because they've got some parking over there that doesn't use, but I think it'd be kind of cool for downtown Newberry, you know what I mean? But that's their plan, and just a simple version of what they want to do. And Robert, when he came in, he had a picture of what he wanted to do, and then the architect, he's using Monarch. They've already drawn all the plans and everything. So they're ready to pull the permit now, just as soon as we get the zoning and all on it.
Okay,
That's pretty much it.
is that it? Thank you, sir. Don't go anywhere. We may have questions for you later. John Paul, give the staff report and recommendation.
Just waiting for the presentation to come back up.
Hang on, John Paul. I think Mr. Norfleet left his phone.
All right, so the request before you tonight is simply for rezoning. Right now is commercial general. Commercial general is in our land and development regulations, kind of like the bottom of the commercial zoning districts, and only get like more intense from there. So we have several others like commercial intensive, which adds additional uses or restrictions to the commercial zoning districts, commercial automotive, commercial highway. Central business district kind of functions in that way. So in commercial general, the uses that are on the screen now are generally give you a good snapshot of the uses that we allow in commercial general. Within CBD, there's a few additional uses added, which are convention centers, wholesaling, and residential. In this particular case, there have been discussions of doing a mixture of, a mixed-use project, essentially. But again, I just want to clarify that tonight's just for zoning. We'll come back with a development plan. It is in the historic district, so it does need a certificate of appropriateness for the design of the building as well. So it'll have to be contextually appropriate for the historic district. And with that, staff does find the request consistent with the comprehensive plan and land development regulations. We do recommend the board forward a recommendation of approval to the city commission. This will go to 2 city commission hearings in case any of the board members wanted to attend. If a recommendation is forwarded to approve, first reading will be on May 22nd. That completes my presentation.
Okay, thank you. We're going to move to public comment. Anybody from the public wishing to speak to this item? Seeing none. We will go to, did you hear anything, Mr. Norfleet, that you wanted to cross-examine from staff? Staff, did you hear anything you wanted to cross-examine? All right, member decision make the body. Questions? Don't everybody jump for the microphone at one time. I know we like to look at the renderings there.
This is just rezoning, it's not even.
Right. I do have a question about, at some point in time, we had talked about the road and the traffic, and your cars coming through, and this rezoning, and this is maybe a question for staff. Are we still contemplating we're taking the road out?
I mean, we would love to, but we don't want it to
slow this process. I mean, the road isn't part, I guess that's the question of staff. I mean, the road isn't part of the zone. So let's say if later on, in order to get the parking places or things like that, we needed to shut that road down to make that whole campus inclusive. Is that conversation relevant to tonight? Or if the road is shut down, it automatically goes with whatever zoning's on both sides of it?
It can be discussed tonight, but it may not be contextually relevant at this particular point. Again, we're just seeing if CBD is inappropriate for this particular corridor, and this is the only corridor that has CBD currently. When when we actually have a development plan, we can consider vacation of the public right away, since the road is a public right of way and created by plat, it has to be vacated, and at that time we can contemplate, the changes in circulation in the area.
That was my only question. Did I buy anybody enough time to formulate a question?
Once this is approved, when do we?
Turn on your mic.
My mic is on.
We got to reach up and speak into it.
So once this part is approved and it goes before the Board of Adjustment on the 22nd.
This will go to city commission because
Right.
it's a land development regulation.
When should we be hearing back from that? Like, how fast are they trying to move on this project?
Oh, I'll have Tripp answer that question, but yeah,
He just shook his
yeah,
head, said fast.
the rubber is on the road already. I
Right.
think they're just.
Because I
with
know
the
there's
foot on the
construction happening right behind it with what we approved recently.
pedal. Moreland, yeah.
Right, so that's why I was like saying if that's gonna be consistent with or
So-
before.
Yeah, great question. So Moreland right now still has to come back for
Right.
construction plans and final plat. So they're not there yet. Where this one is rezoning and then just site and development plan. Yes, there's an additional step, but from our discussion, it seems like a lot of the plans are mostly ready for submittal, so they could submit at any time. And we can have it back for the board as soon as staff review is complete. But that is part of the consideration when staff's doing a review is how does this make sense contextually?
All right, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from the board members? Would you like to make a final argument, Mr. Norfleet? All right. Cindy, would you like to make a final argument? Mr. Attorney, would you please advise the decision-making body's applicable law and factual findings?
Substantial and competent evidence, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. I'll enter into deliberations. If there are no deliberations, I'll have a motion.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion from Naeem for approval.
A second.
A second from Ms. Long. Any comments, questions on the motion on the floor from the dais? Public comments, questions on the motion on the floor? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Can't wait to see it.
Yep.
Right? All right, and we're gonna scrub item 4, since we already talked about that, and we're gonna come back. So, topics from members. Ms. Kathy, you got anything, festivals or anything coming up?
Okay, the watermelon festival's coming up. And I do have a question, like, how hard does the wind have to blow for a banner to not be put up in the city?
Pretty hard. I mean, actually, it's the gust. So if it's gusting at over 15 miles an hour, I think
Put up today, and it just about
it
poured the
went
whole-
right back down.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank goodness.
Thank goodness it went back down.
Well, it was taken down.
Oh, it's taken down,
Yeah,
yes.
that was dangerous.
Yeah, we, a lot of times we cut more of the little holes in them because what they do from the factory, those let the wind go
Yeah.
through without ripping, and they don't give enough. So we cut more in, but it's something I asked that same question to Jamie. And it was like 15-mile-an-hour gust or something we can't get up there. And
Yeah, I didn't even think about it today.
today is windy.
You said it came down, I said, oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah,
Really
it has been a windy couple of weeks.
So it is gonna be able to be reinstated to its final resting place, right?
Did it rip in no, they saw it was too windy and just stopped? Okay, then we'll get it up there as soon as the wind allows.
And the Watermelon Festival is May 20th, I think, did I have that date right? Parade starts at 10:30. There's a bit of confusion, I think on Facebook, Newberry, South Carolina is doing something, so it's continually getting shared to ours as far as vendors and different times. So the Watermelon Festival is May 20th, the parade is at 10:30, and there are absolutely no vendor spaces left whatsoever. So if you see anything, please, like put a little note, like that's South Carolina, that's not us, or whoever it is. We'd love to have everybody to celebrate our agricultural history. It's a very worthy cause and a great event to attend.
And the parade route is the same, Walker's Produce down, all the way down to Joel's? Are we cutting it? Wherever ASO decides to end it, okay. All right,
Every year it's different.
great. Thank you for the sponsor dinner the other night, that was a lot of fun.
And thank you, Mr. Mayor, for auctioning for us. It was great.
Anytime,
You did a great job.
anytime.
I think you're hired.
Yeah.
For the
Yeah.
foreseeable future,
Yeah.
just mark that date off.
Voluntold, I think it's more of a, yeah.
I knew you had that auction year.
And I appreciate the city members that came as well, and we recognize the city of Newberry for all their help, especially Marina and Tamarno. It's just indescribable what they do for us, and we appreciate the city, and we certainly appreciate you, Mr. Mayor.
Well, we appreciate you guys keeping that tradition alive,
And
because
that
it is
auction money
a lot
goes
of
to our
work.
scholarships, and most, as well as, all of our money except for the operating funds. We put it back into our 3 schools, into, sports camps, uniforms, if someone just needs a meal for the week. Literally, teachers will call and ask for a variety of.
Which
things, but
teacher
that's
would call
what
and
our
ask for
money
a
does.
sponsorship from, I tell you,
We try to support our teachers.
$5 for parking? And that goes into the scholarships as well. I tell everybody that $5 goes right into a kid's.
We've done $4,000, per year, so.
That's awesome. Well, we appreciate
I
it.
was better at math, I could say the last 20 years or something, but that would be a lot.
Yeah,
Last 2 years, 8,000, how's that?
yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Ms. Bowley, do you have anything?
I just wanted to share that I really enjoyed West Fest. This was my first time attending them. It was a lot of fun. I hope to see more and more things like that, and look forward to being there.
Wonderful,
Oh,
wonderful.
and I will be in the Chamber of Commerce tent on May 20th, if anybody wants to come and see them.
It seems like the P and Z should have a tent. We'll put it right next,
Just,
and then you can
guys
wear
just
different
wanna hang
hats.
out with me out
Yeah,
in the stands.
okay, all right. Miss Jessica? No? Mr. Long? No? Mr. Naeem? No? Scott, you got anything? I don't have any. I'd add that West Fest was great. Can't wait for the Watermelon Festival. Just so you know, the schools are not following Teacher Appreciation, the National Week. The district decided to assign different weeks to each school. And this week is Newberry High's Teacher Appreciation Week. So I don't know if your children are relaying that information. I actually think Oakview was last week. So if you had teachers last week, you missed it. You send them an email, right? Say thank you. But they're doing Newberry High Schools this week. That's it. Brian, do you got anything? Public comment? Anything you want to talk about?